someone who can predict relationship problems months before they happen, sense dishonesty without evidence, and feel emotionally exhausted after helping others, yet still chooses to disappear when people need them most. This isn't cruelty or indifference, it's the paradox of the healer. INFJs can make others feel spiritually known while remaining invisible themselves, creating deep connection that comes at a neurological cost. Their prefrontal cortex enables sustained focus for hours without boredom, maintaining concentration that others find impossible to achieve. But interruptions feel jarring to their nervous system, like someone suddenly cutting power to a high-performance computer. Understanding this cognitive pattern reveals why they need space to function optimally. The INFJ brain operates differently from the moment they enter any environment. Walking into any space triggers an immediate data collection process that operates like high-definition radar. You notice the slight tension in someone's shoulders that tells a story of stress they haven't mentioned. The forced smile that doesn't reach their eyes reveals discomfort they're trying to hide. The way conversations pause when you enter suggests you've interrupted something important. But it goes deeper than these obvious cues. You catch the slight hesitation in someone's voice when they mention being fine, the movement of their eyes when a specific topic arises, and micro-expressions that others' mental filters dismiss entirely. While others see surface interactions and casual conversations, your neural networks are busy cataloging details that seem insignificant to everyone else. A person's eyebrow raises slightly when they mention their job satisfaction. Their voice pitch changes when discussing their relationship. Their posture shifts when certain topics arise. You're absorbing all of this information simultaneously, creating a detailed emotional map of the room that others can't access. This isn't mystical intuition or some supernatural ability. Your brain's specialized input system works at maximum capacity, absorbing subtle cues faster than your conscious mind can process them. The data streams in through multiple channels, visual, auditory, and emotional, creating a comprehensive picture of everyone's internal state. You're not choosing to notice these details. Your brain automatically scans for them, collecting information that most people's minds dismiss as background noise. Your mirror neurons fire more intensely than the average person's, creating an emotional Wi-Fi effect that constantly connects you to and absorbs the emotional states of those around you. When someone feels anxious, your brain mirrors that anxiety. When they're hiding sadness behind cheerfulness, you feel both emotions simultaneously. This neurological mirroring happens without your permission or conscious control. You're literally experiencing secondhand emotions through your heightened neural activity. The prefrontal cortex manages this constant data stream while maintaining deep focus on conversations and tasks, but this dual processing creates a unique cognitive load that other personality types don't experience. Your brain runs two intensive programs at once: active engagement with the present moment and continuous environmental scanning. This requires significantly more mental energy than standard social interaction. You're participating in conversations while simultaneously processing dozens of nonverbal cues from everyone present. Running multiple background applications on your mental computer means everything slows down, but the quality of processing increases dramatically. Your responses might come slower because your brain is cross-referencing current observations with past experiences and emotional patterns. You're not just hearing what people say. You're analyzing how they say it, what they're not saying, and what their body language reveals about their true feelings. This comprehensive processing takes time and energy. Your sensory processing sensitivity means you notice environmental subtleties that others miss entirely, reaching stimulation thresholds much faster than the general population. Your nervous system processes sensory information more deeply, which means you become overwhelmed by environments that others find merely energizing. The world feels more intense because you're experiencing it in high definition, while others operate in standard resolution. Bright lights feel harsher. Loud conversations become intrusive. Multiple simultaneous inputs create cognitive overload, where others experience normal social stimulation. Crowded spaces feel overwhelming because your brain is processing exponentially more information than everyone around you, While others filter out background conversations, you're unconsciously monitoring multiple emotional frequencies simultaneously. That restaurant full of people isn't just noise to you, it's dozens of individual emotional broadcasts that your brain attempts to process. The shopping mall isn't just busy, it's a sensory overload of micro-expressions, energy levels, and emotional undercurrents. This constant intake of subtle environmental data creates something remarkable. All of these micro-observations, emotional impressions, and behavioral cues don't just disappear after you collect them. Your brain transforms them into a sophisticated meaning-making machine that asks, "Why does this matter?" and links abstract concepts into a bigger narrative. That gut feeling you get about someone within minutes of meeting them isn't random or mystical. Your neural networks are running advanced pattern recognition software against years of stored experiences, creating instant assessments that feel like intuition but are actually complex data processing. Your mind maintains an internal database of emotional patterns, behavioral cues, and relationship dynamics that updates constantly with new information from every interaction you have. While others need explicit evidence and multiple encounters to form opinions about people, your brain cross-references current observations with past experiences at lightning speed. The way someone tilts their head when they laugh reminds you of a friend who turned out to be manipulative. Their speech pattern matches someone who struggled with honesty. The energy they project feels similar to people who eventually became emotionally draining. These connections happen automatically and instantly because your symbolic and visual intelligence decodes layers of meaning in simple gestures, seeing the world as a conversation with the universe. When you meet someone new, your processing system immediately begins matching their micro-expressions, speech patterns, and energy signatures against thousands of previous encounters stored in your memory. Your brain doesn't just notice that they smile frequently. It compares the timing, duration, and authenticity of those smiles to every smile you've cataloged from people who were genuinely happy versus those who were hiding something. Your visual memory allows you to recall the exact position of a person's body or the color of their shirt from a conversation years prior, creating detailed reference points for pattern matching. This creates rapid-fire associations and predictions about their character, intentions, and likely behaviors, often before they've finished their first sentence. You might sense someone will be unreliable based on how they avoid eye contact when making commitments. You could predict relationship problems from subtle defensiveness in their voice when discussing their partner. These assessments feel instantaneous because your pattern recognition system processes information at incredible speed. Your brain doesn't just store facts the way other personality types do. You archive emotionally tagged, context-rich memories that include not just what happened, but how it felt, what preceded it, and what patterns emerged over time. When someone new displays similar behavioral markers, your brain immediately accesses these detailed emotional memories to make predictions. You remember not just that someone lied, but the specific way their voice changed, their body language shifted, and the emotional atmosphere before the deception was revealed. The processing happens so quickly that the results feel like intuition, but it's actually your brain's advanced pattern matching, creating forecasts based on accumulated data. Your neural networks have essentially become prediction machines, constantly running probability calculations on human behavior based on your extensive database of previous experiences. The speed of this processing makes it seem magical, but it's sophisticated cognitive analysis happening below conscious awareness. Your brain operates as an authenticity detector, cross-referencing multiple channels, words, tone, and body language, and sending up a red flag or feeling of discomfort when these channels are inconsistent. When someone says they're fine but their posture suggests distress, your brain flags the mismatch instantly. When their tone doesn't align with their claimed emotions, your pattern recognition software highlights the discrepancy. You're not consciously looking for these inconsistencies. Your brain automatically scans for them. The result is that uncanny ability to sense dishonesty, predict relationship problems, or know someone's true intentions before they reveal them. You might know someone will become possessive in relationships based on subtle controlling behaviors in casual interactions. You could predict that a cheerful acquaintance struggles with depression because their forced positivity matches patterns you've seen before. Your brain's pattern recognition gives you access to information that feels impossible to know, but it's actually the product of sophisticated neural processing operating at peak capacity. This intensive processing creates the foundation for deep focus states, but it also makes your mental system vulnerable when that focus gets disrupted. When someone interrupts your deep thinking, the experience goes far beyond normal distraction. It feels like your entire mental system has been jolted offline, creating a jarring sensation that leaves you disoriented and frustrated. Your brain experiences what feels like a complete shutdown and restart process that other personality types simply don't encounter. Your prefrontal cortex creates sustained focus states through higher activity levels that allow for deep processing and problem solving, but this focus state is neurologically fragile. When you enter deep focus, your brain commits significant resources to maintaining that specialized mental state. The neural pathways involved in sustained attention require continuous energy and coordination to function properly. This isn't the casual attention that most people use for everyday tasks. Your brain enters a mode that optimizes for depth rather than flexibility. Unlike other personality types who can easily switch between tasks throughout the day, your brain is built for deep, sustained focus rather than multitasking. Most people operate with what researchers call divided attention, keeping multiple mental processes active simultaneously. They can answer emails while listening to conversations and thinking about lunch plans. Your brain functions differently. When you focus deeply, you're committing your full cognitive resources to that single task or thought process, closing all other mental tabs to concentrate on one depth-heavy process. When interruptions occur, your neural pathways experience cognitive switching costs that are exponentially higher than average. Your brain can't simply pause its current activity and resume later. The interruption forces a complete dismantling of your focused mental state. The neural networks that were working in harmony suddenly need to redirect their energy and attention to the new input, creating internal cognitive chaos. It's like shifting gears from deep contemplation back to surface-level interaction, a neurologically jarring transition that your brain wasn't designed to handle smoothly. Your brain has to completely shut down its current processing state, recalibrate to the new input, then attempt to rebuild the original focus. This computational cost represents a significant energy management challenge. During shutdown, your brain must carefully store whatever progress you made on your original task. The recalibration phase requires processing the interruption and determining its priority level. Finally, rebuilding your original focus means reactivating all the neural pathways that were previously engaged, which demands considerable mental energy. This explains why open office environments or constant notifications feel particularly draining. Each interruption forces a complete system reboot rather than a simple pause and resume function. Every phone notification, colleague question, or background conversation triggers this costly mental reset process. While others might experience minor distraction, you're dealing with major cognitive disruption that accumulates throughout the day. Your brain expends enormous energy just trying to maintain focus in environments that others find merely stimulating. The deeper your original focus state, the more jarring the interruption feels, because your brain was operating in a specialized mode optimized for focused flow states. When you've been thinking deeply about a complex problem or working on creative solutions, your neural networks create intricate connection patterns that support that specific mental activity. Interrupting this specialized processing mode disrupts carefully constructed cognitive architecture rather than simply redirecting attention. Other personality types can maintain surface-level attention across multiple inputs, but your brain trades breadth for depth, making task switching neurologically expensive. They might keep several mental tabs open simultaneously, moving between them with minimal effort. Your brain closes all tabs except the one you're actively using, which creates incredible depth and quality in your processing, but makes switching between tasks feel overwhelming and exhausting. Understanding this neurological reality helps explain why you need quiet environments and uninterrupted time blocks to function at your cognitive peak. You're not being antisocial or demanding when you seek solitude for important tasks. You're honoring the way your brain actually functions and protecting your ability to do your best work. But this intense processing style affects more than just your focus. It also shapes how you experience every social interaction. Every conversation becomes an exercise in soul collecting, where you function as an emotional mirror that reflects others' feelings, while your own become increasingly difficult to identify. After spending time with others, you feel emotionally drained in a way that goes beyond normal social fatigue. You've literally absorbed the emotional states of everyone you encountered, processing their stress, anxiety, joy, and sadness as if these emotions were your own. Your mirror neuron activity creates an emotional absorption system that literally embodies others' emotional states, making you feel what they feel at a neurological level. These specialized brain cells fire when you observe someone else experiencing an emotion, creating an internal replica of their emotional experience within your own nervous system. When your friend feels anxious about work, your mirror neurons activate the same anxiety pathways in your brain. When your colleague radiates excitement about their weekend plans, you experience that excitement through your own neural networks. While this creates deep empathy and meaningful connections with others, it also means social interactions involve processing multiple emotional datasets simultaneously. You're not just managing your own emotional responses to conversations and situations. Your brain is actively experiencing and processing the emotional states of everyone present. During a dinner with 4 friends, you're simultaneously feeling your own emotions, plus absorbing and processing 4 additional emotional streams. Your neural networks are handling 5 times the emotional data that most people process during the same interaction. Your brain functions like a high-performance sports car that delivers incredible results but uses significantly more fuel than the compact car brains of others. Each social interaction requires premium emotional energy to power your sophisticated processing system. You experience borrowed emotions and collective tears, often realizing you're crying or stressed, not because of your own life, but because you've absorbed the sorrow of others you've helped. Your brain doesn't distinguish between your emotions and the emotions you're mirroring from others. All emotional data gets processed through the same neural pathways, creating internal confusion about which feelings belong to you and which ones you've absorbed from external sources. This explains why helping others feels both deeply fulfilling and completely exhausting. You're not just offering support or listening to their problems. You're literally sharing their emotional burden at a neurological level, experiencing their pain, fear, or confusion through your own nervous system. Your brain processes their emotional experience as if it's happening to you directly. When you help someone work through their anxiety, you experience that anxiety yourself, while simultaneously trying to provide calm, rational support. The computational cost of this emotional processing accumulates throughout social encounters, leading to what researchers call empathy fatigue. Each person you interact with adds another layer of emotional data to your processing queue. By the end of a social gathering, your brain has accumulated multiple emotional experiences that need to be sorted, processed, and cleared from your system. You're carrying emotional residue from every interaction, which explains why you feel overwhelmed even after positive social experiences. Your brain requires downtime as a neurological reset for overstimulated emotional processing centers, allowing your emotional sponge to dry out completely. During solitude, your neural networks can finally sort through the emotional information you've absorbed, distinguishing between your own feelings and the emotions you've mirrored from others. This processing time allows your brain to reset its emotional baseline and clear the neurological residue from intense empathetic experiences. Without this recovery time, the emotional information continues building up in your system, leading to chronic overwhelm and emotional exhaustion. Your emotional absorption system creates a neurological need to clear accumulated emotional data and restore your baseline processing state. But when this system reaches capacity, something unexpected happens that can feel like betrayal to those who depend on you. Your brain initiates what researchers call the door slam, not as revenge or an impulsive reaction, but as a quiet funeral for relationships that have become unsustainable. You care deeply about people, yet you find yourself withdrawing from relationships when they need you most. This contradiction feels cruel and selfish, but it serves a crucial protective function that your brain activates automatically. The disappearing act isn't a character flaw or emotional immaturity. Your neural networks are executing a sophisticated survival mechanism when trust is violated, or the noise becomes too loud for your processing system to handle. The prophet's burden weighs heavily on your shoulders, sensing an ending long before it happens, whether it's a friendship fading or a betrayal approaching. Your brain's prediction engine constantly simulates future scenarios based on current relationship dynamics, often forecasting problems months before they actually manifest in reality. This predictive system analyzes conversation patterns, emotional trends, and behavioral changes to create detailed forecasts about where relationships are heading. When your friend starts calling more frequently with increasingly intense problems, your brain calculates the trajectory of their emotional needs and predicts when their demands will exceed your processing capacity. You carry the weight of seeing these endings approach while feeling powerless to prevent them, often blaming yourself when you can't save the situation despite your early warnings. When your processing system detects relationship patterns that historically lead to pain, betrayal, or emotional overwhelm, it triggers protective withdrawal protocols without your conscious permission. Your brain recognizes warning signs from past experiences and initiates defensive measures before the situation reaches crisis levels. The withdrawal feels sudden to others, but your neural networks have been monitoring relationship data and preparing for this protective response for weeks or months. Fear of intensity drives much of this withdrawal behavior, the fear of being right too soon about relationship problems that others aren't ready to acknowledge. You learn to hide your visions until circumstances force you to cut ties for your own emotional safety. This isn't conscious rejection or deliberate cruelty toward people you care about. Your brain's attempt to preserve your processing capacity by reducing emotional input before system overload occurs happens automatically. Your neural pathways prioritize your long-term ability to function over short-term relationship harmony. When the noise of feeling becomes overwhelming, you retreat to your internal sanctuary, a private world where you can recalibrate without external emotional input. You sense when someone's emotional needs exceed your current processing bandwidth, and withdrawal becomes a survival mechanism rather than a conscious choice. Your emotional absorption system sends alerts when incoming emotional data threatens to overwhelm your capacity to process and respond effectively. The same way a computer automatically closes programs when memory runs low, your brain initiates withdrawal protocols when emotional demands approach dangerous levels. The same pattern recognition software that helps you understand others also monitors your own emotional and processing limits, creating an early warning system for emotional exhaustion. Your brain tracks your energy levels, emotional absorption rates, and processing capacity in real time. When these metrics approach critical thresholds, your neural networks trigger withdrawal behaviors to prevent complete system failure. You might not consciously recognize these warning signs, but your brain responds to them automatically. Your brain prioritizes long-term processing stability over short-term relationship maintenance, which can appear selfish, but actually protects your ability to help others sustainably over time. By withdrawing before complete burnout occurs, you preserve enough processing capacity to eventually return to relationships with renewed energy and emotional availability. The alternative would be complete breakdown, leaving you unable to help anyone for extended periods. Understanding this pattern helps both you and others recognize that withdrawal represents protective maintenance rather than abandonment or indifference. Your disappearing acts serve necessary functions for preserving your sophisticated processing system. Recognizing these patterns as neurological responses rather than character flaws creates space for a different understanding of how your brain actually works. This sophisticated processing system isn't broken or overly sensitive. It's high-performance neural equipment that trades efficiency for depth, creating extraordinary emotional intelligence at the cost of higher energy demands. Your brain operates with specialized capabilities that most people simply don't possess. Recognizing your cognitive patterns as neurological strengths rather than personal flaws changes how you manage your energy, relationships, and need for solitude. Your withdrawal isn't antisocial behavior. Your exhaustion after helping others isn't weakness. These responses reflect sophisticated brain functions that require proper maintenance. As a translator between emotion and meaning, you're fluent in a language most people forgot how to hear. Your silence isn't coldness, and your depth isn't too much. Honor your processing system by creating environments that support deep focus, allowing recovery time after social interactions, and trusting your pattern recognition as the sophisticated cognitive tool it truly is. Which brain difference resonated most with you? Have you ever felt that ancient weariness from carrying everyone else's emotions?